Oh shit, I spilled beer over myself. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Engineers Without Filters podcast. And welcome to the shit show, because we are drunk tonight, boys.
I've already spilled beer all over the place.
Yeah, I mean,
I
Jacob
spilled
just
beer on my
did.
keyboard.
Round 3, baby. Let's do this.
Joseph, the beer you got me, it's really good, but for some reason, whenever I crack it, it like overflows. I mean, they're trying to give me the value for my money.
That's
on
how
these
you know
things,
it's
but
quality.
Overfilling them.
Sounds like a you problem.
Yeah.
Unless like
I'm
a
your
me.
host, Jacob Thompson, and tonight I got a couple things cooking right now. I have an open Labatt I still got to finish right here, Labatt Blue, and I'm drinking a, how do we decide to pronounce this, Joseph? Bauhaus?
Bauhaus?
Bauhaus.
Show me the
Dayton,
label.
Yeah, you're German. It's Bauhaus. It's some fucking Dodo
Oh, yeah.
inside.
Yeah, Bauhaus.
Bauhaus.
Yeah.
It's Bauhaus Lounge Wizard. Big fan of that.
I feel like for this episode, we should talk about what we drank beforehand.
Also, I've already had an old style. No, I've had.
You had,
There we go.
Okay, no, I had a Lounge Wizard, an old style. I'm halfway through a Labatt, and I just cracked a Lounge Wizard.
Nice, congrats.
man of variety.
Yeah.
Truly.
Right. I'm Joseph DeGrandchamp, and tonight I'm drinking a Tin Whiskers Tractor Beam IPA. It's a
Ooh, that
double
looks like a cool can.
double dry hopped hazy India Pale Ale.
Damn.
And this is the second one I've had tonight, and I already shotgunned an old style, so you know I'm feeling pretty great.
Nice. I'm
Right
Gabe
on.
Toman. I'm coming at you live from Marquette, Michigan, and not Houghton, so the audio may sound different. But I've had three shots of rum. 3 mixed drinks.
Yikes.
All right, Gabe is on a different level than us.
and then I'm drinking a Labatt currently. So yeah,
Labatt, baby.
gotta love
Okay.
Labatt.
Oh, I forgot to mention, I also have a Labatt on deck, so you know.
It's a quality shitty beer.
It's a fine
It is,
Canadian
but also,
Pilsner.
I said it last week, but old style is underrated. Old style is up there.
Old
I think
style's
I've only had
fantastic.
one old style in my life.
Oh, it's so good.
It's all piss. I'll drink it. I don't care.
I'm trying to point to Dayton, but I don't know if you guys can
Yeah.
tell. I'm pointing at
You're in the
no
top
webcam.
right for me, so
Yeah, to me,
you
you're
pointed
pointing
to the corner.
Yeah, same.
You pointed to the X button to get out of Discord.
Yeah, so I'm Dayton, and I went to the brewery after work today, and I had a New England IPA.
Ooh.
I had, which was called, Juicy Bullshit.
Ooh.
Oh,
I like
that sounds
that.
fucking good, dude.
I
Who
had,
comes up with these names? They're great.
I had a strawberry mango wheat ale, which was like summer something.
Okay.
And then I got home, and then I had the champagne of beer,
Ooh, baby.
Miller
Nice.
High
Miller
Life.
High Life.
Miller High Life.
And while I was at the brewery, I picked up a growler of, another IPA from them called.
You're not
Is
gonna
This
kill that in
Art?
an hour, are you?
I mean, I'm drinking it straight out of the growler right now, so
You gotta like tilt it on the back of your arm and hoist it with your elbow. You know how I can't describe how you're supposed to do it, but like how like the old style,
Mhm.
where it's like
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that looks painful.
Yeah.
We really got to start recording the video for these things,
Honestly.
because I
Yeah.
feel like it'll...
Yeah, that's
I
how
mean, I'm off
you're
video
supposed
this-
to
I'm
I'm
drink
pretty sure
it
this is
out.
the way to do it,
experience.
Joseph.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to describe.
Someone screen cap this.
Where's the screen cap button?
Oh my
All right,
gosh.
Print screen.
I got it. I'll put mine in MS Paint.
Yeah,
And then-
we're fucking around. It's a drunk episode. Date, I'm just gonna ask you right now. You told me last week you've streamlined the editing process for these episodes.
Mm-hmm.
How much would it kick you in the ass to start editing video?
I don't have any experience editing video, but I mean, if I record it at the same time, I imagine.
Well,
that it shouldn't
here's
be
what I would
awful.
imagine. I think we would all have to record our own video with the audio synced up, and then it would be the same process of just finding the point, syncing it up, and then it'd just be like the 4 boxes.
Yeah, I don't know how cancer that would get.
I feel like it won't be that bad of an edit.
I feel like it'd be pretty.
I could even try it too,
I'm
because I have some
thinking,
video
I'm
editing software.
thinking for that, it might just be easier to just pull it from Discord, but I don't know. That's a conversation for
Let's figure
another
it
day.
out.
For a
Yeah,
sober
definitely I
date.
would use
Off the
OBS, but yeah.
Well, welcome to episode 37 of the Engineers Up Filters podcast. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at EWF Podcast. So you can find our show on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube, baby, because fuck SoundCloud. Am I right, boys?
Fuck SoundCloud.
We don't even get any views on the YouTube platform.
Yeah.
It's
Hey,
all,
go
it's all
subscribe.
Spotify, it's all Apple.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I haven't put in a whole lot of effort on the YouTube side of things because I have the same thumbnail for every single episode. So if we start editing video, I'll put a little more effort into it. But also, go subscribe. What else you got to do? You got
What?
a Google
Jacob,
account.
Jacob, if I'm the one doing the video, you're not going to be putting in any more effort. If anything, you're going to be putting in less.
No, he's saying.
Well, I'll
into
put
the
in more because I
thumbnail.
got the thumbnail. I got to make a custom thumbnail every week.
Thumbnail is quite a bit of work from what I hear.
It's
You
it's
got to
also
do like
very
the whole
important.
like pointing thing, open your mouth,
gotta have
and then
red
have like
arrows.
exclamation points like,
Yeah. Joseph talked about this.
The most
Yeah,
clickbait
some straight
bullshit.
cancer. Yeah, exactly.
Wait, speaking of more effort, Dayton, is this gonna be the first one with the new intro music? Or are they gonna hear some
That was the
sick beats
yeah,
of that last
yeah.
week?
yes, it will be. Yeah, that's a good call, Gabe. Yeah, you probably
Yeah.
noticed it beginning of the episode, but Dayton's been working on a new track for the intro. So
I'm thinking as I
DJ Pax.
continue to learn this software a little bit more, I want to have like either a new intro or outro song like every other episode, maybe
That'd be cool.
depending
really
on
cool.
how into this I get.
even every month, I think would be cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, because I enjoy it, so
it'll keep bringing people back.
yeah.
A little variety.
They'll be begging for more tunes from me.
They're just gonna watch the first 10 seconds and then the last 10 seconds just for
Yeah.
the intro outro music.
Maybe we should go back on SoundCloud
So-
just so Dayton can get that SoundCloud rep.
SoundCloud hype.
So this episode is just be just a whatever episode, bullshit for most of it. But we'll start off with, I don't know whose idea it was. Was it Dayton's or Gabe's?
I
was
started
mine.
the idea of getting drunk. Dayton started the idea of let's actually have a topic while we get drunk.
Well, here we go. Dayton, give us a topic.
All right. I brought up the idea that I think that we should have to talk about our favorite topics in, I said STEM, so like science, technology, engineering, because
And
we are
math.
the
And math.
Yeah,
engineers
fuck math.
in math. But I mean, like, who the fuck cares about math? Like,
Honestly.
Dude, I brought a math topic here, so don't talk shit about math.
Oh,
well,
yikes.
I'm talking shit about math right now, Jacob. So
Don't talk shit about total.
But yeah, I figured we're the Engineers Without Filters podcast. We need to have some engineering topics, or STEM topics, and I think it's gonna be hilarious watching us absolutely stumble through these topics that we should probably know a little bit
Have-
better before
have
talking
some,
about.
Yeah, some knowledge
Um,
on them.
So it's gonna be an experience to say the least.
Dayton, I'm glad you brought this up because I feel like a random Joe Smith who's an engineer. He's like, I'm gonna find a new
Hold on,
podcast
pause. Can
and
we
search
pause
this for
for a
us.
second? I'm a little upset that the regular person name is Joe. Okay, first of all, I'm not a big fan of that.
You don't even go by Joe.
I don't
Shut
care.
up, Joe.
It's still associated.
Fine. We'll call him John
Thank
Smith.
you.
All right, does that make you fucking
It does.
happier? All right.
No,
Regular
call him
John
John the
Smith.
Grand Champ.
It's just a regular name.
Let's call
Gotcha,
him
bitch.
Snowflake Joe.
So good old John Smith, a mechanical engineer in Detroit. He's like, I need a new podcast. I've just been going
Works
through
for
the
the
motions
big
lately.
three.
Works for the big three, and he searches engineers on the podcast service of his choice, and he finds us, And then he looks in our feed. We have no goddamn engineering topics, so I'm glad we
I
brought
think
this
we
up.
have more
Dayton.
psychology topics than we have
Yeah.
engineering.
But
Honestly.
imagine having to cycle through 37 episodes to find something on STEM on
They'd give up.
on a
They would
podcast
give
with
up.
engineering in the title.
I mean, to be
Hey,
fair,
better to get there later
to
than
be
never.
fair, we just call ourselves engineers. We're not saying that that's what we're going to talk about. That's just who we are, right?
Also, only 2 of us are engineers at this point.
That is
so.
true. I have actual business cards that say engineer on them, so I'm fucking legit.
Ooh,
Damn.
Joseph.
graduate with an engineering
Yeah, but I still got the same job, you fucking loser. Who's the real loser? I put in less work and got the
You
same
paid the same
result.
amount I did in tuition, bitch.
Yeah, okay.
All right, Dayton, do you have a topic you want to start off with in STEM?
Oh shit, you're gonna start off with me right away?
I mean, I have one. I have one. If you don't have one.
No, oh, dude, do I have topics to talk about? No,
With
no.
a growler
let's-
in his hand.
Dude, I'm freaking nursing this growler right now.
If beer brewing isn't one of the
That is
topics
that is
tonight-
so dangerous, dude.
Dude, remember what happened when I killed a growler in an hour?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
except I'm
fucking
also bigger than
died.
you.
True.
Yeah, you know what, Jacob? Let's hear your topic or one of your topics first. I'm
Okay,
curious about
alright,
this
I
whole
have a
math
list here.
thing because math is.
I mean, I can start with
Yes.
math. I wasn't gonna start there, but I can start there if you want.
Oh, you're gonna ease into it.
I would rather
I have
ease
another
into
one that I've-
math if it were me.
Okay, all right. So here's one I've been thinking about ever since high school.
Jeez,
Oh,
that was mine for a
okay.
while.
Ever since I was in the old chemistry class. All right. What the fuck are quarks? All right. I'm just gonna put it out there.
Quarks
You know, we
with
talk
a Q, not like
with a
corks
Q.
in a wine bottle.
Correct.
QUAR.
Yes.
K.
KS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm talking about you got atoms. Everyone gets the atom. We think they're this weird, model where the electrons swoosh around the nucleus. We don't fucking know. We can't see them. We can kind of see them, but we can't really see them. That's just a theory, right? And people are like, okay, so it's made up of protons, neutrons, and electrons. Is that good enough to satisfy your
Nope.
curiosity? And we're like, no. What the fuck are those made out of? And like, oh, they're called these things called quarks. I'm like, you're telling me there's smaller things inside of these subatomic particles? And they're like, yeah. I'm like,
It's like
well,
those Russian nesting dolls, but real life.
And isn't
exactly.
I guess
'cause
Russian
it's like,
nesting dolls are real life, aren't they?
but it's like, where does it end? Because what are
But
quarks made out of?
Don't
You know what I'm
quarks
saying?
have like up and down or something? Like I'm not. A
there's
big
like,
chemistry
I think there's
person.
like 3 per molecule, and
Right.
there's some up and
Per
down shit. That's what-
molecule, dude. That's.
Or sorry, per subatomic particle.
Okay.
Three,
Okay.
like-
now
like-
we're talking.
And then it's like based on their orientation, it'll be like a proton, neutron, or electron. But I'm still like, I don't know, man. It's,
because
like matter is so weird, right? Like 'cause you keep breaking it down. Like how
'Cause
far can you
isn't-
go?
Yes.
that's separate from string theory, where string theory is like the
Well, I thought string theory incorporates those topics with it. So like, isn't
Yeah,
it like
I think so.
a string? It can be an up or a down. Like,
So-
correct me if I'm wrong. But
I've-
isn't
I'm
it
not
like-
fluent
I
on string
heard
theory.
this theory one time on like the Discovery Channel or something. So I don't know how credible.
Yeah, disclaimer for everybody for like the rest of the podcast. We're drunk and we have no idea what the fuck we're really talking about.
Nobody's fact checking this, so,
yeah.
you know
It's
it'll be
not.
fun.
It's not. What physicists? I was gonna say physicians, but that's
we're not that either.
either.
But the one theory I heard is that protons, neutrons, and electrons are just the borders of the vibrations of these things called strings. And
But are strings
I-
and
I th-
quarks?
I think strings are smaller
they are.
than quarks,
So
I think.
the analogy that I heard is that if a hydrogen molecule is this, or atom or whatever it's considered, I forget, is
Atom,
the
yeah.
size of the solar system, like our solar system, then a string is the
Yeah.
size of a tree. So
That's a yikes.
like I can't even fathom that, but that is the theory that I heard, and this was like I was in fucking high school when I heard this, so I could have fucking fucked it up by then. But
Not been listening.
so that's how
Yeah,
I
'cause, like,
remember it. At
my whole
least.
thing is like, it's like, yeah, like how far can you go? Because like, what is matter? Because like, yes, matter is molecules. Molecules are atoms. Atoms are subatomic particles. Subatomic particles are quarks or strings. Where does it end, Joseph? Where does it end?
The
Because
world
like
may
I was
never
telling
know.
one of you guys, there's that I've heard this analogy or story before. I don't know what to call it. When I was back in high school, one of my teachers told me this. Like, okay, so you say you have a ball in your hand, right, and you hold it.
What
You
kind
drop
of
the
ball?
ball. Any kind of ball. We'll say a tennis ball.
Okay.
Let's say I'm holding a tennis ball above my head and I drop it towards the ground, right?
Mhm.
At some point, it'll reach half of the distance from where it started to the ground, right? And then another point, it'll reach half of that distance, half of the half.
So is this like a
And then-
Half-Life thing?
and then another half, and then another half. But based on that theory, it'll never actually touch the ground.
Because it only
I've
goes.
heard
It'll
that
just
before.
keep like having the distance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
I've
So
I've
then-
heard like that you never actually touch anyone, right? You're always like,
Yeah, and that makes sense because of like you just feel like the repulsion between
correct.
atoms.
But the halfway thing,
But-
that's a. I think I talked about this with you actually, Jacob. Is that's a
Yeah, we were talking about it in the kitchen.
philosophical theory too. I think it.
This is shit we talked about in the house at like 12 o'clock eating
Yeah.
pizza. By the way.
But that's part of. It's Zeno's paradoxes. Zeno. I only remember that because my cousin's name is Zeno, and
Not because
no,
you're smart.
definitely not. But yeah, he had like 3 paradoxes, and that was one of them. Is that you never. His was like the tortoise and the hare, where if you release the tortoise first, the hare can never catch the tortoise because it's only getting half. Like once it gets to the point where the tortoise was, like the tortoise is already gone, and like it's a similar thing to like the halfway theory.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's weird.
Have you guys
Weird
ever
thing.
heard of the? I mean, I heard this in high school, so obviously it could very well not be true. But like the concept that there is a slight possibility if you took a step that you would like fall through the floor because
Yep,
like, the
I heard
atoms
that.
would
Yeah.
That
be
dude, that
spaced out.
is.
But it's so intestinal. It's like so small.
that's like saying, yeah, there's a chance. There's also a chance that like a fucking meteor is gonna come out of fucking nowhere and
Dude, a
literally-
meteor
right,
almost
right.
hit us like a month ago. Did you hear
No,
about
no,
that?
let
I'm
me
just
finish.
saying, like-
Let me
I'm just saying,
finish
like,
my
concept-
statement, Jacob.
All right, sorry.
A meteor comes in, goes through the atmosphere, passes through directly my window right here, and blasts me in the ass.
I want to know the numbers for that.
And I'd be willing to bet you that is more likely than me taking a step and it going through. Like,
Oh,
there-
I guarantee it is.
Jesus,
It's possible.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is
Because a
that it
meteor
is
almost hit
possible.
Earth like a few months ago.
yeah,
It's on the
okay,
news.
okay. A near miss is like fucking tens of hundreds of miles away, though. Like it's
No,
it's-
it was in between the distance between Earth and the Moon.
Okay,
It was
but
that close.
How big was it though?
It was a smaller guy, but it
wait,
would have destroyed a
was-
city.
wa-
They said it was the equivalent if it would have hit a city, the equivalent of a nuclear bomb.
Wait, wasn't
Nah,
that
that's
the
It wouldn't
one
have
that
destroyed
they
Earth.
didn't
That's really not
detect,
that bad.
Jacob? Was that the one where they like didn't even notice until like it got too close?
Yeah,
there's,
because
like-
it was so small and moving
Right.
too fast, they didn't notice it till after it passed us. They're
So-
like, what the fuck was that?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Shit. If that's gonna hit us, who the hell cares? Like we'll make do.
It'll land in the ocean
there's a
for the most
75%.
part. Like,
Probably
either the
Probably,
ocean or
There's
in
a
the
good
It'll
chance
probably
they'll
land
land
in
in
water.
water. Let's be real.
right.
Well, like
It's
even if
gonna
it hits
land
the
in New
ocean, it'll
York.
start tidal waves and like
Yeah,
probably take
I don't
out some
care for
islands
that.
or something.
All right. First off, they're not gonna be tidal waves. They're gonna
Whatever,
be
Dayton. I don't know the
tsunamis.
fucking semantics. All right.
It's not a
outta
semantic. They're very different.
Dane's here to play
So
devil's
also-
advocate all episode.
You know what, Dayton? Why don't you give us a topic? All right.
Yeah,
don't
and
like
we
what
talked
you
about
got.
space.
Okay.
Let's tear it to pieces.
All right. How about this for a topic, Jacob? Because you don't seem to
Yeah.
know jack shit about the oceans. Ocean circulation and also sediment flow of the oceans and like underwater landslides. How about this?
Yeah,
Okay. Do you
That's
guys,
just pretty cool.
do you guys know anything about underwater landslides?
Have a very
Not really.
vague
I know about El
idea.
Nino. Is that related? Or in La,
That's
in
a-
La
That's a
Nina?
weather pattern.
Oh.
That is a weather pattern.
Yeah,
Based
but
on an
you're talking
ocean
about
movement.
underwater landslides.
I know. You know
I'm
what,
just
Joseph? How would you get
repeating
off my
the words
case? All right?
Dayton said already. You know, I'm not.
Dane, is this more related to tectonic plate movement than
No,
like
no.
weather?
So this is different. So like this is when like you have basically underwater ridges and things like that,
Mhm.
and the sediment like builds up on the side of them, and then eventually the sediment, it can't stick on the side anymore. So then
Right.
it creates like a landslide going down the water or down the ridge, and these things can get traveling like upwards of like I'm gonna throw out a number and it's probably gonna be completely wrong, but I want to say they can get going like 100 miles an hour or something like that underwater.
Yeah, in water, that's
Damn.
fast as hell.
Yeah,
How big are these ridges though?
I mean these tend, from what I remember, they tend to be up in like the northern Atlantic, kind of by like Iceland area.
Mm.
So they're not super common, except like you can pretty much trace back like exactly like where they started, and they just absolutely devastate like the ocean bed. Like a lot of people don't think about the ocean bed. I feel like a lot of the time they're just like, oh, like what can be down there? Like nothing. But there's some stuff living down there.
Yeah. Well, I always knew there was life, but I didn't think there'd be anything that would like kind
Matter.
of
Care.
threaten that life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no corks down there, right? There's no corks down there.
Yeah.
I
No
knew
cork
someone was
zone.
gonna make that joke. I was waiting for who it was.
Yeah, but then like ocean circulations are fucking cool as shit too. Like modeling them. Like I took a modeling
Ooh.
class.
Were
Not
you
like
the nude
a,
model
not
in
like
the
a,
middle?
Not like what Joseph's thinking
Everyone
of.
paints you.
Not
Joseph
like
also took
Zoolander,
one, but
not
it
like
was different.
Zoolander modeling. Like numerical modeling, and it was really cool because we got to, model like a basin and how like the wind force affects like the flows, and that was really cool. And then just like extrapolating that to like ocean circulations is just insane. Like how we can actually predict like what the ocean will do.
No, yeah, I remember I was studying for the GRE. There was a question about that. There was like a reading question where some scientist was tracking like sediment through ocean currents and back to other continents and stuff, and trying
Yeah.
to figure out like dating and stuff like that.
Well, dude, there's a guy, a professor at Michigan Tech who he's studying bilge water in shipping, like container boats, like whatever you want to call them, barges or whatever, and studying the
Sound it out, Dayton.
fuck, I don't know the word. This is well outside of my pay
He's gonna
grade.
Google it later.
The microorganisms inside of like the bilge water, and then he can track them based on where they've been, based on what he finds in the bilge water. And this was entirely DARPA funded, so funded by the U.S. government, basically, so they can track where you've been based on some fucking bilge water that's in your fucking boat.
What does DARPA stand for? I've heard of it. I don't actually know.
It just sounds like a dumb word.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
DARPA.
I mean,
Department-
the project that I was working on this past summer was DARPA funded as well.
I'm googling it.
That was the autonomous jet ski small scale model, basically.
I've got a topic that will build off
of
of
bilge
your topic,
water?
Dayton. If
Before
you're-
you go, Gabe, I googled DARPA. It stands for the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency.
Yeah, so these are like crazy projects that they don't expect to work out.
They make some dope ass
Fucking
shit though.
generic ass naming right there.
They're the ones making, one of the companies making those like robots that are like standing up and shit. That and Boston. Well,
That's
no,
Boston
Boston
Dynamics.
Dynamics
Boston
and
Dynamics.
DARPA. They're both doing it. I think DARPA is more on
okay.
the four-legged one because that's more military based. Yeah, they call
like
it
the
the cow.
dog-looking
but yeah,
voice.
where Boston signed.
Dude, I still think ethics
It's a dog,
aside,
come on.
ethics aside, this is how you know it's gonna be a good comment when I say ethics aside. If we got monkeys and orangutans to
I mean,
become
have you
soldiers,
seen Planet of the Apes?
I'm just saying.
Have you seen Rise of the? Yeah,
They fuck
exactly.
shit
Have
up.
you seen that movie?
I haven't. You're asking the wrong
We
guy.
lose
No,
that
that's what
battle
he's saying.
9
That's
times
why
out of
we
10, Dayton.
employ them.
I think 99 times.
We have
out
them
of
on our side.
Yeah. No, you don't employ them. You fucking enslave
Okay,
them.
you clearly have not seen Planet of the Apes. No, hold
what's
on,
your-
hold on.
So let's build off of the previous topic.
No,
that
because
didn't involve
Dayton does not
enslavement.
realize that that's exactly how the Planet of the Apes started. Is they enslaved the apes, and then they revolted, and then they killed all the people. So,
They
yeah,
also
well,
could
because
speak
of
English though.
one could
And
speak
hold
English.
assault
And
rifles.
okay, you got to watch the original 1980s movies. Okay, there's 5 movies. They're
I don't
fucking
think
great.
I
You gotta
want
watch
to.
the movie.
But
Gabe.
anyway,
Yeah. This is clearly a STEM
You know that
topic.
Captain America meme? I don't think I will.
anyway,
Yeah.
you're wrong because they'll take over the earth. So don't enslave monkeys. Long story
Okay.
short.
They're gonna outbrain the brainiacs.
No, they're gonna outmuscle the
human-
brainiacs and
whatever
outbrain the
Homo
muscle.
sapiens we are. I don't.
Well,
I'd like
before
to
we
see
were
that
talking
happen.
about
No, let's keep going on
enslaving
that thread.
animals,
It's more fun.
I wanted to bring up the concept of supercomputing and quantum computing
How does that relate to oceans?
because you were talking about models, and those are all done through computers.
He's not wrong, Dayton.
And
He's not
Okay,
wrong.
that's like tangentially related, like how, like I have
Joseph
quarks
is
in my.
dying up there.
I
Holy
have.
shit.
hey, it flows better than anything Joseph was gonna say.
I think that pun that you just made flows better than that segue that you just had. God.
This is some dumb shit you just said there, Gabe.
All right. Well, now I don't even want to talk about my topic. So
No, Gabe. Gabe, we insist.
do you?
It's your turn to talk, Gub. Give us about your quantum computers.
I
Even though we've already talked about it a little bit on one episode of the podcast, but I'll allow it.
have we?
Yeah, in the future episode.
Oh
talked
shit,
about
you're
it a
right. Well, I'll keep it brief then, because I got a couple other ones. But the concept of like supercomputing is super fascinating to me because it transcends disciplines, so that multiple departments and different fields in education can use it for all sorts of different purposes, and it's really cool to see. Like, I mean, they just throw this like crazy like formulas and crazy like multivariable things into these systems, and they can like spit out actual relevant data that can be used. Like, you see that a lot with space exploration and stuff like that. But,
Are you
like,
talking
for
about
that
like the what is it, the graphene computers or whatever they're called?
yeah, like stuff that can be able to give accurate models with like any form of complex input.
But can you do that with a regular computer, like a silicon based?
You can. It'll take fucking forever, but you can do it.
It's about the speed.
Yeah, yeah, which is why I clarified with like the graphene based.
Right. I think quantum computers have like, I mean, I talked like, I guess you're right, Jay, where I talked about it before, but like that'll be able to do simulations like that and like any form of computing like so much quicker. It's like
But here's the thing, Gabe. I agree with you. That's a very cool topic, but like, and yeah, if we've ever figured it out, well, first of all, the government will figure it out first, probably, and they'll keep to
I
themselves.
mean,
for a
there's
while.
already primitive versions of them. Like they're
Yeah,
already
but,
out.
Like, the amount of time it will take for that to get to the regular consumer is so long. Because, like, I mean, you talk to anybody who works in a factory, like, it takes forever to update systems. Like, Joseph, we've talked about, like, fucking most factories just using Windows Vista on their fucking computers, you know? Like,
Dude,
these systems are
we have-
so old.
Our
Okay,
time
but
tracking
that's not
is
the
through,
point
like-
though. Like, normal users don't need quantum computers at this point in time. Like, you don't need a
How do you
quantum
know?
computer to go onto Facebook.
How do you know, Gabe? Well,
You-
if the company I work at has to do a bunch of data analytics, and we want it, but
it'll-
we can't get it for
It'll go
50 years.
government, it'll hit big companies, and then it'll trickle down to standard users. That's how it always goes.
Mm-hmm. He's
But
right.
I'm just saying,
Yeah,
like,
I'm just saying it takes forever for any company to implement any new system.
yeah, I mean, you're
you
not
know.
wrong. I just think that it's
It
It
an
depends
interesting
on how they're
concept
implementing it, though.
because
Jacob, 40 years ago in the 80s, people didn't need smartphones in their pockets all the time. What are you saying about 40 years in the future? We don't know if people are going to need quantum smartphones or not.
I'm
Right.
not saying it's a guarantee, but it's possible.
Huh? Punk.
it's definitely gonna happen at some point. If like the world doesn't collapse in the next 40 years.
No, I
It's
think
climate
the
change
ice
is
It's a
caps are
coin
supposed to
flip at
melt
this
after
point.
that. So I think
They're
we
already
can
melting.
Yeah.
fully melting.
Yeah,
We'll
but
see.
the northern ice caps aren't really affecting water levels, if we're being honest. So
Anyways.
I'm just saying, I'm just throwing facts at you. All right.
It's
I-
not about water levels, Joseph. It's about
No,
overall general circulation patterns of the ocean, and then also air circulation patterns. Thank you for segueing back into my topic.
I understand that there's
See,
more
Gabe,
to it
Gabe,
than just
that is how
water
you do a
levels.
segue.
Oh.
That is how you do a
that
segue.
air currents and ocean currents, and even like the fact that there's more of what it's not, is it called brine, where it's like part where the fresh water and the salt water mix, like
I thought brine was just salt water.
Yeah, brine is just
Being-
brackish.
brackish, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Where and like that fucks with everything. Like, don't get me wrong, I understand that, but I'm saying the northern ice caps melting aren't affecting sea levels. Is my only point with that.
Okay, and peanut butter is made out of peanuts.
I'm just saying. Okay?
Never
Joseph,
mind.
while you're since you're saying stuff, why don't you tell us the topic?
Fuck. I didn't think ahead.
Yeah, how about you freaking keep your mouth shut?
It's a podcast. How am I supposed to do that? That's literally the point of what we're doing.
This growler's hidden.
I didn't even get to finish my thoughts, but it's okay.
Sorry, go back to Gabe.
Yeah, Gabe can go while I think of something.
Okay, you have literally 30 seconds because I just wanted to finish up. I am very curious to see how it pulls off, like how it impacts government systems. And I've talked about it before, but like quantum computers will be able to like render any form of encryption or security protocols like completely useless. At some
Just
point,
by brute force, right?
it could brute force in such like an exponential factor more than like traditional computers can. So whoever has that like capability, like encryption's gonna have to change at some point, but like it'll be really interesting to see. I mean, we probably won't know when it's happening, but like how governments use it to spy on other governments and other people, because
But that's already happening though without quantum computers.
that's
But it's
true,
gonna happen
but
even more.
But it'll be
with
so
Yeah,
much.
it'll be
It'll be
worse.
so much faster on such a larger scale. It'll be commonplace until they upgrade to like quantum encryption or something insane like that, and that's gonna be a whole other math problem that someone's gonna have to solve, because encryption's boring at a math level. It sucks. I'm convinced encryption is only useful because people don't feel like cracking it. But like it's gonna be really curious. It's gonna be really interesting to see like the research that comes out of the simulations quantum computers can do, as well as like governments fighting each other over using them.
Well,
I
I wonder if like if we ever get to a point where there's quantum computing where we won't even need to like have a lot of them. It'd just be like you could stream like access to them. Like for example, it's
Like
not
Stadia?
tangent.
That's what they already do
Stadia,
with supercomputers.
Yeah, like you just have a
You can
device that
rent
can
out-
access it remotely, and then you can just do computing and just stream.
That's
it and
literally
service.
Amazon Web Services. Like that's
Yeah,
the whole
exactly.
But yeah, it's
so it's
it's
probably
completely
outside the
possible. But I mean, you also think about like when computers first came out, they're like, there's only gonna be 10 computers in the world. Like that's all it's gonna be used for. And then obviously that's not the case today. It'll be interesting to see how that technology trickles down into consumers.
Hopefully, they can fix all the government websites because they suck donkey dick right now.
That's a different topic.
I'm
but-
sure Dayton can attest to that more than we can because he works for the government.
I don't work for the government. I work for
You
a
work for a
government
contractor.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have to deal with government websites.
You're
and-
closer to the
Not really.
government than any of us are. Well, I guess
What?
except for Gabe was, but
Yeah. I mean, our website was pretty good, so I can't really complain.
It's not
Joseph,
awful.
give me a topic.
Yeah, I gave you enough time. I burned so much time.
fuck.
And you just fucking sat there.
That's all I ever do. Let's be real. Well,
Did you know that electrons are electricity?
you say that, but it doesn't even make sense to me. So, electricity's bullshit. I studied
No,
it.
it's magic. It's straight up magic.
It's straight up
Black
magic. I
magic.
studied it for 4 years. Let me tell you, it's fucking bullshit and it's magic. Speaking of electricity, I was thinking about the new Porsche Taycan electric car that just came out. And just
Elon's been tweeting about it.
yeah, I know. Some YouTubers that I follow have been making videos about it. But I just think it's cool how electric cars are coming back into the mainstream market, because when cars were like first kind of coming into being, I guess, in like the 1890s, I should say, in 1900s, there was a race of combustion engines, electric motors, and steam engines.
We steam, right?
Yeah. And steam lost really quickly. Like they just shit the bed.
Was diesel even in the race? Was that later?
Diesel wasn't invented until I want to say 70s or 80s, 1970s or 80s.
Oh, okay.
Which
Yeah.
is kind
Which
of
I could be
surprising
completely wrong
because-
on that, but
I just know the
I
guy
mean-
who invented it like died thinking that it was useless, and then it got picked up.
yeah.
That's all I know.
Well, because diesel is just a play on like combustion engines, is all it is.
Right.
Yeah. So basically, the difference between diesel engines is, diesel fuel is just a lesser
refined,
processed. Yeah, lesser refined. That's the word for it. Gas, and then it doesn't
need
a spark plug to ignite the fuel mixture. It just relies on compression.
Ah, interesting.
Which is also,
So I mean, like,
it's similar to how like some cars need higher refined fuels, like why you need to put premium into some cars, otherwise they'll knock because they're higher compression engines. So the compression will ignite the fuel before the spark plug does, which can fuck
well,
with
no,
timing.
that's the opposite. You don't want, in gasoline engines, you don't want the compression to ignite the gas fuel
exactly.
mixture.
That's why you put
or the gas air mixture.
exactly. That's why you
Because
put
premium has less flammable, right? It's less ethanol, right?
no. It's
Well, ethanol doesn't.
I don't.
Can't say.
We don't know what
ethanol
we're talking
affects it.
about. I don't.
But Dayton, we're saying the same thing. That's because lower refined fuels will ignite at a higher or a lower compression. So if your
Okay.
engine knocks, you need a higher refined fuel.
Higher octane.
At least that's one thing that can help it, depending on why your engine is knocking. Anyway, electric
sorry.
cars.
Electric cars.
The battery technology is finally coming back to a point where it's
Is it,
yeah.
though? That's what I was gonna ask, because like I feel like with electric cars and cell phones and everything that requires a battery, you still haven't like cracked battery.
I mean,
technology
Batteries
yet.
still
Like,
suck.
it's getting better, but they're
It's-
not
I mean,
as good
it's
as they.
light years ahead of what it was. But what
Yeah.
kind of range do you get on your car right now? Like if you full tank of gas, your car it'll like calculate
I got 400
400?
miles.
about
Yeah.
tree fitty.
350.
Like 400
Mine's
miles.
about 360.
But I have a 20-gallon tank, so
Yeah. So the new Tesla, or not the new, but the Tesla Model S, like fully stocked, whatever, that will get you
Fully stocked or fully stock?
fully stocked, like fully loaded,
like
top of the line.
you got all the good packages.
Okay,
All
'cause
the features.
that little
Yeah,
ED
yeah.
there
No,
at
I
the end of
understand.
that makes a big
But
difference.
no, the top of the
Okay.
line, I should say. It'll get you 345, I think is the excuse me, is the range on that.
So it's good.
Yeah, like it's
pretty
way
much- pretty
better
much
than
there.
it used to be. And like I don't know, off the top of my head I don't know what the stock Model S range is, but I know it's over 300. And then the Porsche Taycan whatever bullshit top of the line, it's pretty close. I think it's a little less than the Tesla. But still, it's interesting where battery technology has come recently.
Yeah. I just feel like it's been like a linear progression, and we need to hit the exponential.
Yeah,
You
I don't
know?
know.
All right, I've got a few points I want to talk about.
I don't know. I think it's.
Oh, you can
I was
continue.
just gonna say, like,
Yeah,
I think it's cool how far it's come, and like, I think electric cars are really cool, and I'm all for them. However, we went to school for 4 years in the Great White North, where we all know batteries do not last at all,
in cold.
and
Also, there's no
And,
charging
well,
stations. There are very few
yeah,
of them.
but that's not even like the big point, because you can put those in. Like that's not the limiting
Yeah.
factor yet.
Weather you can't change.
I would argue that it's a big limiting factor to not have charging
Yes,
stations.
but that can be
'Cause, like,
overcome.
there's gas stations
That's
all
just
over. No,
infrastructure.
it totally can, and I think it will eventually. But at this
Because
point in time,
superchargers just use a
it's not-
dryer outlet. Like that's for you people that didn't study.
Is that what is that? Is that 440?
For it's either, I don't think it's 480.
Isn't it 220,
It'd
440?
be 480.
Like,
I think. Well,
oh, it's 240, 480. Is that what it is? I thought it was 220.
I
Four-
don't, it.
I don't know. Regardless, it's in
Well,
the 400.
Joseph, you
Off-
should know
off the-
this.
well, it'd be if we're talking. I don't know what Dayton's talking about is the thing. There's different
Googling the
levels,
dryer voltage
and
right now.
he could be right, but I could be talking about something else is the thing. I don't know what a dryer takes. It's probably, well, because your wall outlets are 120,
Dryers run on 220.
What?
so that'd be
That's
Seems
what
low.
Google
One-
says.
okay. I could do the math, but I don't want to. If I'm being
Well, if it's 220, then 440 is double that. So Joseph's right. I guess.
Joseph, I think that electric cars in the end will be a good investment, but I think like you see those things where like they say the battery like production is very or environmentally like not
yeah,
friendly.
but it takes like what
Um,
2 years. Dayton and I watched a video on this where it's like depending
right,
on where.
but batteries also are they aren't as consistent as engines just yet, or combustion engines just yet. We're like
Right.
batteries, and we even see it on our phones. Like after a year or
Yeah,
two,
but
your phone's battery.
they're not
doesn't
putting
last as
fucking
long.
lithium ion. I don't think they're lithium ion.
Right. I think
they're better
it's something else.
technology than what they're putting in your fucking phones.
I would hope so.
But you, okay. There's just
I'm
No,
just playing
I
devil's
understand.
advocate. I think electric guitars.
Electric guitars.
Electric guitars.
Guitars.
Electric guitars.
Electric guitars, dude.
Electric cars have a lot of promise, and I think that they will become more mainstream as like the future.
I mean, they have to be, right? If they don't, we're
the
the
main,
Earth's
well,
fucked.
not
So-
necessarily.
Yeah, and I
but
think it will. It just you need infrastructure. Battery technology will advance because there's a need for it, right? We're like, I mean, obviously we have phones, but when it hits a point where it's like we need to do this for the environment and for the economy, someone's gonna figure out a way to make a battery last longer and be able to withstand the extreme heat and the extreme cold. At some point, there's gonna be a need and a pressure for it. It's just we haven't hit that point yet.
The main issue right now, too, with like the infrastructure of it, is that Tesla has put out their charging setup, or their charging, I don't know what it's fucking called, but like their ports.
Superchargers.
They've set them out as open source, so other companies can use them, but no other company wants to because they want people to use their own special charger and make more money off it.
The Apple method.
Yeah, but like if it was standard, like what Tesla's trying to do, make it standard like how gas stations are. Like you don't go to a Ford gas station to fill up your F-150 or a Honda gas station to fill up your CRV, right? You just go to a fucking gas station. It doesn't matter. They all take the same gas.
That'll come in time. Unfortunately, it's just
Yeah.
how it is right now, where everyone's trying to get their place in the market.
But
and
it's just
make their
the
money.
fact that where it's starting out, it's going to be so difficult for every, company to make their own charging port,
Well, it's even like cell phones, right? Like Apple has the Lightning ports.
Yeah, and they're
everyone
fucking
else is
stupid for
USB-C.
doing that shit.
Eventually, Apple will get USB-C because, like,
I mean, they already did with
You
the
know.
iPad Pro,
exactly.
but
So
yeah, once that becomes standardized and everyone's on board with using, it doesn't have to be Tesla's charger. Like it can be any charger as long as it becomes like everyone establishes it as the main. That's
Yep.
when I think the tide will turn. But yeah, I think electric cars are pretty sweet. Long story short.
I agree. All right, let me hit you with another hot topic. All right. So I'm looking at the clock. This one might go a little bit long. Who gives a shit? All right, but I'm gonna give you the math one quick, because I know you're gonna make fun of me for it, and then I'm gonna go into my other topic that's actually real. Actually, no, I'm gonna give you two quick topics and then a real topic. Okay.
That's 3 topics.
Quick topic number one. I know this is gonna give me some hate, but I enjoyed Calc 2. All right, I said it. I enjoyed seeing an integral and just memorizing how to do it. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause a lot of math is just memorization. You memorize the rules and then you play by the rules and then you get an A.
Okay.
All right.
I never had to take Calc 2, so
I did
Just
better
as
in
I
Calc
didn't
2.
either.
Yeah, I did. I did better in Calc
You
2
did?
than I did in Calc 1. I don't know that I
Same
had
here,
to
the
take it, but I
big
did
fucking
take it.
deal. I didn't think you had to take it though.
I don't know if I had to take it, but I did take it. I
Anyway,
was already
Calc
signed
tool-
up by the time I switched.
Calc 2, I liked it. Memorization for the win. Second quick topic. You know what? I just love a good free body diagram. All right.
Ah.
Get out of here, all right?
Like physics 1, you gotta find you gotta balance it out because it's a static object. I'm a big fan of that. It's a fun time.
No,
Jacob,
it's
I
not.
think that you'll be disappointed in the fact that neither of those things are required in the workforce.
No, and that was my point with those two things. My mini point before I get to my actual topic is that so much of the shit we learned in school is like, this is a very specific closed system, closed scenario thing to help you like learn a concept, but it's never gonna mimic a real world scenario.
Right.
Like you're very, very, very rarely gonna need to actually use a free body diagram that, but like manually. I mean, most of the time it's probably done by a computer anyway, and it's not even a static object; it'd be a dynamic object. So it's just funny how like school is just like that's another reason.
You learn how to learn.
Except
Exactly.
unless
You
you
learn
go
how
to
to
the
learn, you
school
learn
of
how to be an adult.
technology where everything gets applied.
Hey,
Bitches.
we're not School of Technology anymore. We're College of Computing, or COC for short.
You are.
That is not a joke. We literally changed our name to College of Computing.
I graduated from the School of Technology, and I use my
we
stuff
told them
every
to
day.
change the name, and they didn't.
All right, here's my real topic. Back in high school, I thought it was really cool when Interstellar came out and everyone started talking about like time travel and shit and how like it's kind of real but also not, and how like
You can go
you
forward
can
in
travel.
time, but not back.
You can go forward in time, you can't go back, and how like gravity
Affects
is
time.
the reason.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating. All that stuff like really
Well,
is really
isn't
cool.
that
And I wonder if it'll ever
semi-based?
happen.
Where like the theory of relativity.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
it was all like scientifically backed. Yeah.
I mean,
You
obviously.
can go
It's
forward,
just-
but you can't
but like
go
when
back.
Interstellar came out, people actually like were talking about it
Yeah.
a lot, and I always found it super fascinating. Like, and that movie is just amazing.
It's a great
also.
movie.
The
But
soundtrack on it is fantastic.
Hans Zimmer.
Oh, yeah.
You can. I don't know. I'll buy
You
you a
doing it
beer.
wrong.
I'll buy you a
Gabe,
beer.
I don't know how you're gonna finish that.
I'll do your taxes for you.
I saved it. It's fine.
Yeah, no, that movie was like obviously awesome to watch, but also to talk about after. It's like just all the concepts and how gravity is this very mysterious force. You know, it's kind of like quarks, where it's like
Has it been
It's a thing
physically
that's
discovered until
inherently-
recently?
yeah, and it's like it's inherently important for all of the universe to exist, but we don't really understand it. Like it's really fascinating.
Yeah, we understand how it works, but not necessarily why it works.
The thing that
Which is
blows
neat.
my mind about that is like there's very little physical evidence behind it, right? Like matter, there is like atoms, right? But when it comes to like gravity, I mean, they discovered gravitational waves like what 2 years ago, but like
don't
no,
even
they
know,
found
yeah.
evidence of gravitation.
right, it's not even like discernible or like credible and solid proof of it. But it's interesting that
I'm pretty sure it is solid evidence. They hadn't. It's just like the amount of evidence that they got was like really good. Like 2 years ago.
Well, from my understanding, they took like a picture of like a supermassive black hole or something, and they found I don't really know the whole.
No, the
situation.
gravitational
it's-
wave thing was based on these. We learned about it in our semiconductors class. I feel like Jacob.
Oh shit!
Is it that class that you always skip?
Enlighten
Jacob?
me, because like I'm just gonna play
The-
devil's advocate for the audience, because I don't.
I
really
remember
understand
particle in a box. That's about it, Dayton.
No, there's these like a laser, and then it gets like shot, and then like depending on like the diffraction of it, and then you can use like multiple different ones like across like continents.
Like fiber optics? What are you talking about?
No, fuck, dude, this is gonna drive me insane. That
I
don't
I feel
remember
like
this.
gravity doesn't affect lasers that much.
it. Okay, well,
Lasers are
regardless,
light.
it's an
It's the
interesting
gravitational
concept because,
waves.
but
like-
isn't it crazy that that's so hard to find? Like I don't know.
Yeah, because it's something that we trust like inherently, right? We're all sitting in chairs
Well,
right now,
The thing is,
and that's
like,
just a normal
we've-
thing. But that's all gravity.
We've landed spacecrafts on
Using that
on the
theory.
moon, on Mars. Like, we've landed shit in craters on the moon, the moon is spinning around the Earth.
Dude,
The
most
Earth
impressive
is
one
rotating
the
and
comet
moving
that
around.
that we landed
Oh,
on.
I know. Like all this shit we've done on like a theory that is like it's established, but it's not completely understood. Like it's understood, like we know all the effects of gravity as far as we know, right? But we don't know necessarily like the absolute cause. Like we know like it has to do with mass and like it's correlated to mass.
Mhm.
But like
And that's the part of it that's really interesting to me is like, yeah, you have like two like celestial objects, and based on their mass, they'll be attracted to one another.
But
Just
how-
the mass, and that's
with-
gravity. But it's
yeah, like how
fascinating.
does the mass actually pulling them, or
Well, on top of that, there's like the fundamental forces of nature, like the strong force, the weak force, all that sort of stuff. It's just weird.
That shit
So I
was-
googled what I was looking up, and it's like the LIGO, and it detects ripples in space time using laser interferometers.
Huh.
Which Jacob, do you?
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
thank
I know
you.
what interferometer is. Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
don't.
Yeah. So basically, there are these interferometers which they just like, from what I remember, they bounce lasers off of mirrors, and then there's like a mirror that like splits the laser into like two, and then
Yep.
based on like the length that it travels and like the amount that it diffracts, you can see how much it like space time has like rippled or whatever. And then if you use
Yep.
multiple of those across like the Earth, then you can get like a pretty accurate picture of ripples in space time.
I'm glad that you explained that to the audience and not me.
Yeah.
Well,
to the
it's
audience
hard to
that
explain
doesn't know it, 'cause
interferometer.
we're
Like,
all on the
it's
same
just
page.
Google
You
it
have to
if you're in
draw
the
it out.
audience.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
have to
it's like a
draw
double
it out
slit.
to like really.
There's a double slit thing.
It
and
made
it's just,
sense for the most part. I think you did a good job
I
explaining.
feel
Yeah.
like I followed it.
We're drunk. I don't want to get into interferometer.
But that's the
theory.
idea from this episode, right? We get drunk and talk
Yeah.
about deep shit.
I tried.
All right, well,
I tried. You
If
know
we're
what?
if
If
we're
I
going there,
die
I'm gonna
on
go there,
this, then
Joseph. I'm
hit
gonna
me with
fucking go
it.
there. The weirdest thing about the double slit experiment is we cannot know what is the position and the fuck.
That's
There's
that's
two things
not
we
double
can't know at the same
slit.
time.
That's not the double slit. Double slit is that what is it? Photons can act as a wave and a particle.
Yeah,
What
Okay,
you're
yeah,
talking about is
observed, it
electrons,
becomes
and
one.
you don't.
Electrons.
Or not Schrodinger's. The
Heisenberg.
Heisenberg's
The
uncertainty.
Heisenberg uncertainty principle.
Yeah.
You can't know the position and is it the speed?
Velocity.
Velocity at the same time. When you try to measure it, the electrons are like have a mind of their own. Or like, nope, we're not gonna obey.
It's the experimenter's bias or whatever
Isn't
it's
that
called.
Yeah,
ridiculous?
it's fucking weird, dude. It's so fucking weird. Like, it's literally like you see like the data, and it's like electrons have a mind of their own. Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
make any goddamn sense.
It's like the freaking gotcha bitch of
It's-
science.
I love it.
Dude,
Yeah.
Like,
Nothing makes sense, but humans like to try and make sense
dude,
of
I'm
nonsense.
telling you,
That's what it comes down
electrons
to.
don't exist. They're just magic pixies in the wall, and that's what makes your lights turn on. All right.
And my phone
Exactly.
charge. It's magic pixies. Let me
Electrical
check
engineers
Instagram and
are
Reddit.
just pixie wranglers that know how the pixies work, and that's all there is to it, my friends. That's what I learned in my 4 years of school.
All right, somebody give me another topic.
I like the concept of space in general. I think that is just fascinating. I mean, obviously it's a super general topic, but it's always fascinated me how
Vast.
I mean, yeah, and that's the big thing is like how
Is
small,
there an end to the universe?
yeah, how small you are, and like the concept of the end of the universe, and like you hear those theories of like, is the universe expanding or is it collapsing or will it like rubber band back into like
Isn't it
pre-Big
pretty
Bang?
agreed upon that it's
Yeah.
expanding?
Right, but we don't know what dark matter looks like.
We don't know
or what it
anything about
is.
dark
Like,
matter.
We just know that there is dark matter. We just don't know.
It's like
what, it
what,
looks like or what
90?
it
Is it 80 or 90%
Right.
of?
I think it's like
It's
80.
something.
But
Vast majority of the gravitational forces in the universe are a thing that we don't know shit about, other than we can name it,
Mhm.
and it's not anything we can
Yeah.
see.
have you guys
I'll
seen
let the
any of
smart
those?
people handle that.
Aren't we? We went to.
Have you guys seen any
We
of
went
those
to nerd
articles
school.
on
We are
like,
the smart
end of the
people.
universe?
That ain't from you, Jeff.
What were you saying, Gabe, about this
What were you
end of the
saying, Gabe?
universe?
Oh, we're like there's the idea of like entropy ending, right? So that like nothing can interact with itself. I forget the word or like the phrase, but it's the idea that like enough things
Yeah,
interact or it gets to a point where they
the
can't
heat
interact with
death.
each other because they're
It's like
all
the heat death.
Yes, heat death. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
where-
thinking of.
because
We're like
energy is always being released or something like that.
right. Instead, it goes from order to
It's
disorder.
trying to reach its
Yeah,
lowest state.
so, like-
Right. And it's a basic concept of like everything goes from high to low, right? It goes from high order to low. That's just how the world works. But at some point it'll equal out to where nothing can interact with itself and like the universe will eventually not be able to expand or contract or do anything. It can't interact with itself because it's equal. So it just stays until something happens.
Isn't that when it starts
guys heard of that?
collapsing though? If I'm remembering the theory correctly.
I mean, there's so many different fucking theories on it, but I've heard ones where like it collapses and then it just dies. There's ones where it expands until like it's so spread out it can't interact with anything close. There's a whole bunch of different ones, but like the idea of like the heat death of like the universe is super interesting. And
it
fucking
is
spooky.
until you realize
Well,
it's not
there's
going to happen in the next 86 years, so we're not going to have
Yeah,
to fucking
right.
worry about it.
86. That's pretty hopeful. Joseph.
Hey, I mean, it's enough to cover our bases. So
You live into 98?
Yeah,
I don't
108.
think.
Yeah, you hoping to be a
I can do
super
math.
centarian?
Yeah, I'm not expecting to live that long, man. Once I become a vegetable, just put me out of my misery.
honestly, same.
Okay, don't you tell me again.
Like,
Speaking of that, do you guys think we'll ever get to a point where you can transfer your consciousness to a digital format?
What is this, Black
You
Mirror?
know, if I can, I don't want to.
Jacob,
I hope so.
if you give us those, do you think we'll ever be able to? My answer is always going to be yes.
What if?
Yeah.
What if?
If
Okay.
you
Because
bound
me and-
it, then I don't know.
Here's
maybe.
my ideal life. I die, and then I wake up.
Just
and
leave
then-
Ideal,
Yeah.
ideal life. I'm dead.
I die. I wake up, and then they're like, "Hey, you never have to work again. You get to do whatever you want. Anything you imagine or want is yours. It's basically heaven, but digital."
But
and
how
it's
would
all
you know
mine.
the difference
That would
between
be
heaven
fantastic.
and digital?
I wouldn't, and
Dude, that's
okay
already a
with me.
philosophical discussion. It's been like fucking beaten into the ground already, Joseph.
Is that STEM, Joseph?
Okay,
That's
well-
not STEM.
Hey,
Well, 'cause
they're
me and-
adding
me and Joseph
an
were
A
watching-
to STEM to make it STEAM, to make arts, and I'm gonna.
Oh, fuck that. Get
Well-
them out of here.
Brought to you by the same people that give
No, okay, hold on.
trophies.
I listened to. Okay, this is a very white male thing to say, but I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast with Neil deGrasse
Yeah,
Tyson,
of course you do.
and
Oh, I heard that
It
one was
was
a little
weird.
weird. Like, I heard he
yeah,
was kind
he
of
was
a dick
an
in it.
asshole. It was hysterical to listen. Neil,
Wait, who was? Joe
Neil
or
was
Neil
just
deGrasse Tyson.
Well, he was being an asshole on Twitter with a
Yeah.
gun violence shit. But I
Yeah,
don't
I've
like
heard
He's
that he
always-
is actually
yeah,
He's kinda
he is,
cocky,
but it's
that's the
it
big
was
thing.
really funny to listen to either way. But anyway, he was saying how like the economic growth can be drawn from where, oh god, I can't remember everything he said, but it had to do with as long as these like factors are included, like you can see economic growth, and it was science, technology, engineering, arts, and math is like how you could you needed almost all those parts for to see
To
an
interact with each
economic
other.
growth, where those are the main
I don't disagree
factors
with
that
that.
actually cause economic growth within a society, more so than what traditional economics would say, I suppose.
I don't disagree with that, but it's like, for me, STEM and arts are for
Yes,
very
no,
different
I
people.
agree.
You know, like I can't like I feel like someone who does science can also be someone who does technology, engineering, or math. Those are all very, you know, loose. And the person can flow between them. Whereas like arts is like on a different level.
I would
like I cannot be
argue-
creative
So-
enough to like be an artist.
I would argue that stuff gets married with each other all the time in projects. Like, you look at even just cell phones. Like, that's a marriage of art and
It is,
and
but it's not the same
technology.
person. Like you can't go.
No,
I feel
but-
like you can't go into science or
Yeah.
STEM and arts at the same
But
time.
that's never
But-
stopped groups of people from working together to
I
create
studied
something.
electrical engineering, but physics I can't fucking, I'm not going to go into that, or
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying like it'd make more sense to me personally for someone to go into STEM or arts, not for a single person to go into both. I think they should be married as far as a collaborative effort for sure, because you need those different perspectives and to make.
Oh yeah.
Cool
That's
things
how
and
you
do
make
cool research.
great
and I think that's the
inventions and
main
products.
point, is that like science, technology, engineering, math, classic STEM is more like utilitarian almost,
Yep.
whereas arts allows
Jack of
you.
all trades.
I don't know about that, but
Oh,
arts
okay,
allows.
I kind of zoned out there. I was just trying to be useful.
Just trying to have a hot drop in. And it
Don't
just
worry,
did not
everyone.
work.
Dayton is still here and alive.
And
And
still
I'm still
drinking
working
that
on my
growler.
Yikes.
But like art, is fuck. Now I lost my fucking. I had a train. The train's off the rails.
It's left.
It's gonna hit a town with an elementary school and kill some kids now. Dayton, are you happy?
Hey, you know what? Embrace entropy, Joseph.
Can I curveball you guys for the ending topic?
No,
Fuck it.
Do you guys worry or even think about
No.
all the time.
nice computing and like automation taking away jobs at some point?
Not
Are you
my
Andrew
job.
I'm not-
Yang?
Yes.
I'm not
I was gonna say I'm an
Democratic
Andrew.
candidate?
I'm an Andrew Yang supporter, so yes, I do.
Not specifically your guys' jobs, but I'm saying like the idea
No.
of universal basic income and
Yes.
automation taking over simple jobs. Like you see that even at McDonald's these days, where like
I
it's so
think
much
it'll-
easier to go to a kiosk because they aren't gonna fuck up when I say no ketchup on my fucking burger.
Yeah, but it
I'm not trying
okay,
to
hold on.
get
To-
political on this podcast, but I'm drinking the Andrew Yang Kool-Aid right now.
so
I'm
also,
a big fan.
fuck
I've never,
the
I don't know this
McDonald's.
platform.
fuck the McDonald's
He's Universal
kiosks.
Basic
They
Income.
take way more work than what I want. When I want a double quarter pounder, no pickles, I can just say double quarter pounder, no pickles. I'm not gonna go into the find the double quarter pounder,
it's easier that
turn
way.
off pickle. No, that's so much more work.
No.
You
They
know
don't
what
fuck it up because you know what the order is.
They
so they're
still
not gonna
fuck it.
up.
It's this because it's
They
the
might,
cooks.
but
It's
they
the
aren't gonna
cooks
fuck it
that
up through translation.
it's the cooks that fuck it up. It's not the guy at the register. Believe
Cooks
you
is
me.
strong words. It's McDonald's.
Okay.
All right, Gabe.
The preps.
Gabe, just I don't want to go too hard into politics right now, but just since you brought it up, yeah.
As Jacob delves deep.
As I
into
dive
Okay,
into
this
No.
podcast is going to be a double
and we
episode.
just lost half our audience because you brought politics.
No, but like you were talking about automation, like that's Andrew Yang's entire platform. He's like, yo, automation's gonna take away a ton of jobs, like truck drivers, retail,
Right. Truck drivers are a big one right now.
telecommunications, like all this stuff. And he's like, we need to get ahead of it, and universal basic income is the way to do it.
I mean,
So that's kind of what is his platform right now. And
Right.
I feel like there's a debate last night. I feel like no one else is like thinking about those kind of things. You know, like if you watch the debates like healthcare and gun control, and everyone's kind of on the same page, but he's like, yo, nobody's talking about this important stuff that's going to happen.
Do you guys watch the Kurzgesagt in a nutshell videos?
Kurzgesagt.
That's how you pronounce it.
I do
No.
know.
You should check him out. He does a bunch of different well, it's a whole team.
It's not a he, it's a they.
I just corrected myself. They do a bunch. It's a whole team, and they do a whole bunch of different topics, and one of them is the idea of like automation and universal basic income, and it's really interesting because like they do their research.
Well, yeah, one of the, I don't want to, yeah, whatever. There was a mass shooting not that long ago where the perpetrator was a truck driver who just lost their job that was angry. So like, this shit is going to happen. It's just a matter of time.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept because like
it's interesting.
it's completely plausible.
Oh
that
yeah,
a
no.
lot of jobs can be taken away.
Jobs are going to be lost. But that doesn't mean to say jobs are lost. It's jobs in that sector are lost, I think.
Right.
Where like other jobs are going to open up. And I think you can't see it now. But it, it's just one of those things. Like, yeah, no one works at a livery anymore. When cars were invented, liveries, went away. For those who don't know, a livery is where you take care of horses, right? So yeah, no one takes.
Now they're called glue factories.
Yeah, exactly. No one.
But now there's
But
like jobs in
Joseph,
computing.
I agree with you, Joseph, 100%. The issue is the people who are getting laid off from truck driving can't get those
There's
jobs.
no transferable skills for those types
No,
of
and
jobs
I
now.
understand that. And there weren't when taking care of a horse versus taking care of a car, that's a very different thing. And I'm not saying in this generation it's going to be solved because that's not what happened last time or in previous, paradigm shifts with that. What I'm saying is there's going to be opportunities for future people to get jobs. It's not like in 20 years everyone's going to be homeless because robots do everything.
Or like it's like Wall-E, where everyone has their fat chairs and they roll around.
Like that's just not, in my opinion.
No, I agree with
Spoilers,
that.
I haven't seen Wall-E.
Shut up, Dayton.
Yeah, no, I'm more worried about the transition.
Yeah, the transition.
'Cause that
The
transition's gonna be
transition's
painful.
always rough, and that's how it's going to be, and it sucks, and I get it, and like,
It's still an interesting concept, I think.
No, it definitely
to
is.
realize and like
But
think about.
I think that as with everything, it's going to level out, and
Yeah, I just don't think
it's going to be
I
shitty
think
in the
humans
moment.
in general don't think proactively. We put out fires as they come.
Well, that's the issue with like climate change right now.
And,
It's like it's not
and
really
that's where I was
affecting
gonna
us
lead
yet.
into
So
it. It's like it's not. The
But
big thing is it doesn't
affecting us right now.
But it doesn't affect the economy. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
The ones
doesn't
that
affect
it's
the
affecting the most are like third world countries. So who cares?
Yeah, and dude, that's fucked that we don't care about them.
I agree with you, but I'm just saying that's the idea behind like people
that's the
like,
human condition.
It's like, oh, it's not fucking over me, so why do I care?
Capitalism,
right?
my
Like,
friends.
my bottom line isn't affected. So
My comrades.
Exactly. Capitalism, my comrades.
No, like it's whatever. The next 40, 50 years are going to be fascinating. And if we make it out alive, I'll be very
Buckle
happy.
up.
Dude, we are a part of such a weird part of history. It's a fun ride.
I
if
think
I'd call it fun, but-
I think every generation has their
I think you
fun.
can say
Yeah,
that
but
at
I think we're at
any
the-
moment
I
in
think-
time. You can say that this is this is an interesting part.
Yeah, I don't think it's special to just us.
Yeah, but the difference
It's
is
like-
it's our ride, right? Like
Yeah,
We,
oh, yeah.
We always like read history and we're like, oh, that's interesting, but you don't really think of like our lives seeing those type of things happen. But that's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to be able to see a bunch of.
You think the people
and
during
probably
the
bad things.
Revolutionary War didn't stop and think, hey, this is going to change things in the future. This is a weird time
what
in
I'm
history.
saying is,
No.
Do you really think like our lives are crazy? But you look back on it and like there's some even in the last 5 years, there's been some interesting things that have happened within our
Imagine
country.
living like we think the world's gonna end because of climate change. During the Cold War, people thought it was gonna end due to nuclear fallout.
Right.
You know, like it's interesting.
Well, and
to
like
think
even
about
like
that.
gay marriage wasn't even allowed until what 2015. Like
Yeah, and that might even go away now because whatever. No, I'm not getting into that.
And you got the marijuana thing too. Like that was like pretty shunned until the last 10 years.
Hmm. Who knows? Maybe in 50 years I'll be doing cocaine 24/7,
That's what
baby.
I'm talking about.
Something's got to replace caffeine, right?
Exactly. Speed's the way to go.
Dayton, give me a fun one to finish her out. I know we're over time, but fuck it, it's a drunk episode. We're just
fun
gonna keep
STEM
going.
topic.
Yeah, that isn't
Dude,
about
mine was
doom and
fun. It
gloom.
was talking about being unemployed potentially.
All STEM topics are fun.
I don't know, dude.
He's
a
dabbing
fun,
for those who can't
Why did
see.
you have
A
to say it?
fun
This was
STEM
a
topic?
that was an Easter egg. All right.
All right, I know I gave a speech about this in my public speaking class that I took.
Is this about
my last
bagels?
semester.
Is
No,
this the
this
bagel
is-
conspiracy?
already got
No,
You guys are
no,
about
this
to
is
hear
not
about
this is
bagels.
not about
all right?
bagels.
You ready?
No,
Buckle up.
it's not.
I'm gonna save the bagel conspiracy for another episode. We'll get
Yeah,
back to
Dayton's
that
it's
later.
not.
thoughts.
It's not a bagel conspiracy. This is about glass.
Ooh.
And
Oh, yeah.
the reason that
Material science.
yeah, material science. The reason I got thinking
It's
about
because
it,
hashtag glass is a
rethinking
liquid.
about it. Ah, fuck you, Joseph.
I thought that's where I was going with it, but I was gonna be polite and wait.
Yeah, so I was peering at this wonderful growler that I have still about a third
that
left
you've been
of.
staring at the
Um,
bottom of for a while.
Yikes.
I've been working on it. But anyway, I remember when I was growing up, people would always tell me that glass is a liquid, and that they would always be like, "Oh yeah, look at these old barns that are nearby, and you see how like the glass is thicker
Thicker at the end, yeah.
at the bottom
The
than it is at
bottom,
the top."
yeah.
And little me, 7-year-old me, I'm just like, "Oh wow, really? That's so cool." And they're like, "Yeah, like if you put this bottle in the bottom of the lake for like 10, 20 years, it'll be thicker at the bottom than it'll be at the top because this glass is
Wait,
a
you have
liquid."
to put it in a
I was
lake
like-
for that to happen?
You can't just do
See,
that. I mean,
see, that's where I think that it's just them trying to justify them littering. But that's beside the point.
That barn sure as shit wasn't at the bottom of a lake.
But anyway, fun thing is that glass is not actually a liquid. Glass is an amorphous solid, and it's actually
Get your
it's a
fucking facts
ceramic.
right, people.
It is a ceramic.
Is it a ceramic? I don't think I knew that. Maybe
Yeah,
I
it's
did,
a
but-
ceramic made of it can be
Well,
made of a lot of
silicon,
different
right?
things. Silicate. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies make their own different types of glass. Like
Yeah.
Pyrex is a big one. They have a whole bunch of different formulations of it. But yeah, basically, the reason why glass windows in like barns and like old farm towns and stuff like that looked thicker at the bottom than they did at the top was just because initially when they first made glass, they would basically have these circles with like raised walls on them, and then they would just pour the molten glass into those, and then they would just spin them, and then they would cut out pieces of glass from that, and then naturally, because as you spin things and the centripetal force pulls them towards the edge, and then it piles up along the far edge, then that causes a buildup of glass, which makes it be thicker. So then when they're cutting them, they basically cut it into rectangles. And if you're cutting rectangles out of a circle, you're not going to be able to get it like nice and pretty. So you're going to have sections that are thicker and thinner. And then just because of, I don't know, like mechanics, like is that...
So are you...
I think
Hold
that's
on.
I see what you're
Are
saying.
you saying...
You don't want to have the top... You don't want it to be top heavy because it's not as balanced.
So you're saying that it's pure coincidence that they put all the thick pieces on the bottom
it's not coincidence. That's what makes the most
But
fucking sense.
They could have put it on the side. There's more than just the top and the
no,
bottom.
so based on how they so
Well, it's a
Well, it
rectangle,
depends on the
Joseph.
window.
It's not
'cause
a
I've seen
square.
square windows.
yeah, so there's like a cutout. They don't take one square out of each circle. They take multiple squares or rectangles out
Yeah.
of each circle. So there will be sections that have like weird like thickness orientations. But the best pieces which were used for windows and stuff like that were the ones that were taken like and like the bottom and the top like thickness orientations were in relation to like their cut edges, if that makes sense.
What I learned today is that
parallel to
glass
the
is
cut
still a
edges.
liquid, and the bottoms are thicker.
And I learned
because-
that Gabe is a freaking numbskull.
Hashtag glass is a
Well,
liquid
Dayton.
and hashtag birds aren't real. Those are the only two conspiracy theories I'll follow.
Yikes.
Dayton, obviously I'm with you on this because I took the same classes as you, so I agree. Glass is amorphous solid 100%. But I thought amorphous solids could still flow though. Like
So,
I thought they
yes.
were still able to flow, and that's why they're still
Well,
thicker on the bottom.
No, that's not the case. Amorphous solids, sure, they can flow over the course of like millions of years because they want to become a crystalline material, which is like the whole. It has less energy because it's a more ordered.
Yeah. Gibbs free energy, the answer to every material science
Yes.
question.
Yeah, exactly. But
If you're ever in an MSc class and they ask you a question, just say Gibbs free energy, and you'll get a point.
yeah, honestly. But yeah, for the most part, it's like no, they're not gonna move. They're locked in there. For Jacob or other material science people, it's a metastable phase. So like it's gonna
Yeah.
it's not gonna last for like millions of years.
Unless
For
it's
our-
at an elevated temperature, then it would reorder itself. Yeah.
for our life cycle, it's gonna be more than fine. It's not like this growler that's in my hand right now is gonna freaking spontaneously
think
melt
It's
and
very
spill this beer
No,
all
I
over
think
my
it will.
desk.
I think the handle is just gonna give out because it's flowing downward.
You're feeding them
Okay,
to
That's why you
Joseph.
gotta pour bottoms up, right? You hold it upside down so that it evens out.
Yeah, you got to get that glass, balance
Mhm.
between all
So
parts
just-
of the.
Drink
Yeah,
more.
okay.
Dayton.
Oh, I'm working on it. Trust me.
All right.
Well, does anybody have any other STEM things they want to talk about before we sign off?
Other than
Not at an hour and 15
no,
minutes.
I just want to throw this out here. How crazy it is, like cellular technology, like
Dude, CRISPR,
no,
baby.
It'll melt your brain.
Not like cells, like your phone, like communicating with cell towers and satellites.
Oh, sorry.
The
They meant like
2.4 gigahertz
genes.
spectrum
Like,
melts
the
your
fact
brain.
that Jacob and I are in Minnesota, Gabe's
no.
in Michigan, Dayton's in Connecticut, and we're talking in real time, and you're hearing wherever the fuck you are to us, and like you're down or listening to this, streaming it probably off the internet, which who knows where the fuck that's stored? Probably Amazon Web Services, which is what, in like Nevada?
And Steve Jobs'
Exactly.
brain.
If only there were professionals that kept up that infrastructure and maintained it so people could
That's
enjoy
not
those
my
type
point.
of things.
But it's not good enough, Gabe.
That
We
would-
got to get
That's-
Google Fiber
that's-
to the
that's not
rural
what-
areas of this
That would be
country.
a really
Hey, Gabe, fuck
employable
you.
Only make
skill.
it so you don't get a job out of college.
That's
That's not
gonna
my
happen.
point. My point being is how ridiculous and crazy that technology
it's
is.
fascinating.
And just something to leave you on. And thinking about, like, you're talking on the phone with someone and
It's-
that's bouncing off, at least 2-3 satellites,
When it goes off the fucking atmosphere,
It
half
shouldn't
the
be
time.
satellites.
when you're
it's-
talking on the phone?
It goes
No,
off
dude,
like
that's
doesn't
cell
it bounce
towers.
off like a layer of the atmosphere to like get to
Oh,
the next
yeah,
tower?
probably. So probably not satellites, but still, like, the towers it connects to. And anyway, the fact that
Dude, the internet is fucking
just
amazing.
the technology that you're using, it's a cool
It
thing
works
to think
by
about.
magic.
What's also interesting is how like
It's
podcasts
a
became a
satellite
thing.
radio.
Well, it's just like no people were interested in them because I feel like there's two different types of podcast listeners. One is people who still want to learn stuff, which is fascinating because like they went to school most likely, and they're like, I want to keep learning things. Like, okay, good for you. And there's a second type podcast listener like me who's just nosy about other people, and I want to hear
But you
what people's
could.
lives are
Okay,
like.
this is another
compare my
can
life
of
to
worms.
their
But you
life.
could argue that it kind of came about from like satellite radio, where like terrestrial radio. Yeah, but
Like
like
talk shows and
terrestrial
stuff,
radio, like
yeah.
AM, FM, is like all short form, and then once XM and Sirius radio came out, you were able to get more long form radio.
But I'm just talking about like, the
Yeah.
fact that people are interested.
But
in
like that
that,
interest,
and that's
could
just a
be
factor of
yeah.
like personalities and stuff like that. Like that became a thing due to TV and all that sort of stuff. But it's just interesting to me. But I'm very happy about it because I love podcasts. That's all I do.
all right.
Yeah, there we go. All right, well, that's your episode 37 of the EWF podcast. Thanks for listening. Again, follow us on Twitter. We don't have enough followers there, so hop over there. Follow us on Instagram. We got a good amount of followers there. Maybe I'll post a picture of Joseph shotgunning a beer this week.
There
Who
we go.
knows,
We
you know?
need more stories that you guys can interact with.
Go subscribe to us on Spotify, on iTunes, and for the love of fucking God, I know you have an email address. I know you have a YouTube account. Just fucking subscribe to us on YouTube. It's not that hard. Just search it and click the button. You don't have to watch a video. I don't care about that. Just press the subscribe
It's
button.
clearly our fault and not
Jacob
well, it's
is-
your fault, not ours.
once-
That's what I
Jacob
would
is
say.
on
Once
his
we get
hands and
video-
knees begging right now.
Once we get video up and running, I'll throw in some new thumbnails and that'll get you horny and you'll watch it.
After
Right?
dating
Just subscribe for the love of God, please.
Jake-
I know you're on YouTube. Everyone in our generation just watches YouTube 24/7.
Jacob needs those
Jacob,
subs.
YouTube is your baby. Like that's your platform.
I want to be good. All right, we only have like 5 subs right now, and it's
and 4 of them
The
are
four of
us.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm subbed to my own fucking voice. How disappointed.
I will say though, it was nice this week. We got a message on our Instagram.
We did.
what
Rad
was
Tits.
what was the guy's name? Rad Tits. I know you're listening, Rad Tits.
My boy.
Rad Tits supports the show. We love him. Thanks for listening, bud. And if you ever want to just like send us a message on Instagram, we'll respond to you. What else we
Yeah,
got to
or
do?
give us topic
Who gives a
ideas
shit?
because we're
Give us topic ideas.
We're stretching, as you can tell.
Yeah.
We got drunk this
We
one.
can only get drunk so many times.
Yeah.
But we'll keep doing
That's
it for
not
the fans.
true at all. Joseph, I live with you. That is not true.
Hey.
All right. That's our episode. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Bye.
Peace out.
See ya.